So, comrades, I met with you the last time I was here about a month ago. So we promised to do several things. I promised at that time to meet with the farmers, to work in the Molson Creek area, to try to bring all the lands there under cultivation. We believe if we can do that, and I met with them here, we'd probably be able to generate about maybe 3,000 jobs. We promised to start looking at the conversion of Gaisuko with the possibility of growing hemp there. We've tabled, since I came here, legislation in the parliament that will be debated shortly so that we can move forward with that program. I mentioned the last time I came here too that we are launching this job creating initiative, and some of you should participate in it. I don't think many of you took part in it. I just launched it there, where people are getting $40,000 a month for 10 days work, part-time. It's part-time employment. And now 3,000 people would be employed. Before I came here, nearly 1,000 persons were signed up their contract here so that they can have an income and to study and do whilst we're trying to get more jobs in the area. And then with the fishermen, you raised the issue of the licenses, both for the river as well as the other licenses. I mentioned to you at that time, we are having a difficult time with Suriname. And nothing, in spite of all of our efforts, practically little has changed. We were hoping that they will come to the agriculture conference that we had with all the CARICOM countries, so we can deal with that issue too. That didn't happen. And the matter has been raised in the Surinamese parliament. We've had a lot of engagements, but no resolution. The only thing that we've heard is that they had a deadline that they said they were going to cut, you had to cut the boat, and that is not, they're not pursuing that at this stage. So that is the only thing we've heard back from some people, but you know how it goes. It's not a definitive answer, but they said, no, that's not going to happen. People will not have to cut their boats. So that issue, as I mentioned to you, we don't control that because that's their territory. We only have to try to encourage them, get the government to move and all of that, push them. And trust me, the president himself has been making these calls. President Ali has been making the calls himself to deal with this matter. It's very hard for us to address it, but I told you, we'll keep trying at this because I want you to know that no effort is being spared. So this afternoon we can talk a bit more about that issue. And then also, you've seen, we've said we have set aside $5 billion in the budget to assist with cost of living initiatives, helping the productive sectors. President Ali has announced now that the fishermen will get a sum of money. We have to now implement that in a manner that only the people who are actually who've been doing the fishing gets the money. Because you know what happened with the other grant that we tried to give. That a lot of people, suddenly when they hear money sharing, you have some bogus people. Suddenly everybody who catch a single silver bait, I don't know, you call it silver bait in Berbice, but on the East Coast, it's silver bait, right? Right. That catcher thing, suddenly you put down his name as a fisherman. So we gotta make sure that the money goes to the people who are actual fishermen. So Zulfi is here, we'll talk about how we can get this done in Berbice in a manner that you yourselves can help to vet names. So you're not going to come and tell us in the government later, oh, this man here get money and this one didn't get. We have to get all of the names, put up all the names here. You all have to look at those names, and then you can identify the people who have been fishing and who have not been fishing so that they can get the money. Okay? Because if we do it, we get all the blame. Every time we try to do these things, to try to help people, flood relief, fertilizer, everything, then a few people act unscrupulously and then the party gets the blame. The PPP gets the blame for it. Even though we don't know that they're ripping you off. How could we know when 70,000 people, if 10 who didn't plant or planted rice, and some people claim that they planted. So this is something we want to talk to you here about today. Second thing, as to how we will ensure that only those who are eligible, they receive the money. Those who are actually doing the fishing, that they get this $150,000 each. So today, those are the two things we'll talk a bit more about. So I'm not going to make a long speech, because the last time I was here, we spoke at length about all the problems. I know every single problem you've been encountering with Suriname. I know it, I heard you the last time, I listened carefully, we're concerned about it, we tried. But again, if that was a decision we could have made at the government level, it would have been made already. But we don't control that decision making. So this is something that we can discuss. So that's all I'm going to say today. I don't know if Sophie, you want to add something?
No, Chief, you just made the announcement there. I think that we have here in Guyanese, we have about 8 major landing sites with the boats that coming about. I was talking to most of the leaders from those sites yesterday, and I told them we have to have this thing done in a very transparent way. Because as I said, I am now receiving calls that people are putting down their name all over the place for relief. We have to verify it, and we have to do it in tranches. Because first of all, the Ministry of Agriculture Fisheries Department have license for close to about 50% of the fisher folks in this country. And the other 50%, we don't have any record. We'll work with you. We'll come at the landing site, we'll verify the boat, verify the crew. We know for a fact that the crew consists of either 5 or most of the big the trawlers are 5, right? 5 person, and then you got 3 too. The Calais and so have 3, right? So we'll work along with you to develop this list, as the Vice President rightly said. I know for a fact that now places like number 66, we will not have major problems there. Places like Albion, places like under the Kanji Bridge, the number 79 river people here, we will not have a major problem to get a database with them, those names. But other areas you will have to help us to work to ensure that we have a transparent list. We have a list, and we'll put it, as the Vice President rightly said, we learned our lesson during the other relief, the flood relief. We'll put up those names at the various landing sites that it belongs to, that people can verify these names, and we'll ensure that it passes through a process. So that when we pay out the grant, you will pay to the people in orbit and who are working at sea. I'm working with the boat. So I don't know, and that's what I want to say.
Yeah, this is a significant amount of money. It's over $1 billion that will go to the fishermen across the country. And the people have been asking for help, not just in Berbice, because you have a peculiar problem here about the Suriname issue. That's a separate matter, which we're trying to resolve. But right across the country, in some areas, as Zulfi said, they have no organized system, and so it's very hard to make sure that we have, but we try to make sure only those who are eligible receive the payment. It's a lot of money to assist people. Now you would have seen that a lot of people talk about the fish stock, and that the oil and gas sector, the oil industry chased away the fish and all of that. Well, we had FAO look into the matter, the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, that they specialize on these matters. They put out a report. You should look at the report. The report says that there is no such thing, that didn't affect any of the catch. And so, because one group of people was going around, I think they want to form a party, so they're telling the fishermen, that, oh, the government making the oil and gas chase away the fish. The oil and gas people chase away fish. Then we had to get that study, and you can see the report for yourself now about how they've analyzed this issue. Now, let's open up this for ideas as to how we can do, first of all, the grant in a better way, the $150,000 to each fisherman, how we can do it in a good way that ensures transparency. We want suggestions from you, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the Suriname issue. So let's start with that first. Not you first. Not you. You're my village man, and you will hide. So yes, all right. Right. Yes, let her comment.
You fishman, state background, right? And past 18 years you fishing a state background. Sometimes it depends on when you try whether you depend on the try whether you go back and fishing when try whether. Very far we don't have no income. So 2 months now we there house doing nothing. We got the water side, we all seeing, we getting nothing. So
when I was here, I said apply for the part-time program. If you work 10 days a month, you get 40,000. Then you have 20 days to do other things. That is what I urge you all to do. When I was here, I said all of the fishermen who didn't have a job now, apply for this part-time program. We're not going to burden people heavily. You're not going to have to go and break rocks to get the $4,000 for the 10 days. That is what we said. I didn't see many of you here apply. Took the application form to every NDC. Look how many young people applied here. 3,000 of them. And that is what we can still look at some at Nigel, because we have some space, some additional fishermen who want to join that program. You can help out the 10 days, you can help out in government places, you can help out at the hospitals. You know, like we need porters at the hospital to help move people. So you work for 10 days there. You can work in a government office or someplace else. Help out at different places. We're not burdening people. We just wanted to ensure that they had an income. People complain, we try to find a solution, then they don't use it. I spoke with you all about applying for this program. Now we did it today. But I'm still willing. If you have many of you here who need that part-time program, I'm still willing to work to put you on the program. Okay? So make sure that you apply for the program. Alright? So at least you have some income. Whenever things better, you can leave the program. Right? Whenever things better, you just leave. You don't have to stay there forever. But if you need it, then utilize it in the short term, right? Whilst we're trying to get bigger things going. Right. And you're going to write a report, you know. So a lot of people frighten this thing. They think if they got to go, they got to write a report and all of that stuff. You're going to write no report, nothing like Norton and the others where I said, what's the qualification for joining the program? And I said, being Guyanese is the only qualification. You don't have to have additional qualification. Yeah, come on.
Yesterday, we come from River. Well, the reason why you took it a hard time. It looked like things changed. Because the man come to me, and before time he used to sail and boat and the other water, we got to cut boat around time. But it looked like things getting better because he not tell me nothing about cut boat, and he talked very nice and he treated me good. So it looked like, you know, something up here about. So after he got the man and me, I was scared because he sent the boat in without no card. But after we get on, we try to tell them how long we are fisherman, we are 6 years and we half of my life we walking quarantine river. And we try to show them and everything. So the man tell me, I get to tell him, I vice president come and we had a talk with him to show him the problem what they face in quarantine. We're really getting hard time. And before time we didn't get, we was go up and peace with the Suriname. And everybody was thing was going nice. So he told me that the Surinamese didn't want to give up their license. Soon the government try hard and the Surinamese give up their license, the license direct to Ami. So it looked like something really a play about a card to use a little help showing that you will come to us. So the glad you mentioned that one thing that I will cut up the boot. If they agree to that. As I tell you, sir, that we agreed to work with the Surinamese, taking the license, but all this problem with them give us our license and without cutting the boat and getting a hard time with them, we agreed to work along with them. So it looked like things really occurred to government level. Things like, they give up some area. But we're glad that the president must understand that, we think he and Santo give a president. And they were never, we are all never in Suriname and CARICOM. Why these people don't give us a hard time? We think they should try to, see what the best they could do for us. Thank you.
So these are the assurances that we are given to that we spoke with people at various levels that about cutting the boat will not proceed. But I don't like putting my neck on the block. That's why we're watching carefully for anyone, because we don't control that. And Suriname has changed its position several times before when they promised to give us the licenses in writing. In writing, we have that in writing. And then the same man who did that denied that he did that. We have the evidence of it, we publish it. So sometimes they go back and forth all the time because you're right. People are making a lot of money off of these licenses over there, so they don't want to give them up. And therefore, we are fighting those individuals. Even when there is goodwill at the level of the government, there is a problem at that other level. So we'll keep a watch on it. We're watchful all the time, and we keep pressing it. But as I said before, you know that we don't control that. All right, let's come right here. Yeah, the camera, you want to come and use the microphone in front?
Dr. Jagdeo and our Honorable Minister of Agriculture, on behalf of the fishermen from this area, we'd like to thank you very much for this grant that you've given us. It has come at a time that when fishermen has been really struggling. So, for the bottom of our heart, we thank you very much. As the chairman of one of the largest fishing co-op in the country, our biggest issue here right now, though, is that about a third of our members do not have ID cards. And we don't know how. We assume the grant would be in the form of a check. We'll have to go to the bank. So we are pleading that they see the best how we can. They don't have passport neither, so a few of them have birth certificate. I'm sorry the fisherman is so like this that they don't really believe in them kind of paperwork. There are many of them here. They ask the same question why it's coming that they don't have ID cards. They don't have a photo ID.
Yes, so comrade, I mean these people were fooling us all the time. They didn't vote or so, and all the time. And I thought you had all the fishermen on the list. What was going on here? And you all tell us everybody on the list and stuff like that, and voting and stuff. So, well, I'm glad we're gonna fix this ID problem too, and they gotta go on the. All right, but we'll find a way. Once they're legitimate fishermen, and we can identify them, we will find a way of getting them the money. They don't have to worry, but they should also get ID cards, because in the future it's going to be very important for the country. Apart from the fact we want them to vote too, you know. So don't worry about that too much. All right, you hold on, man. You're the last man. Yes. The last man. Yeah, come in front. Come on, and so we can get it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, especially the Honorable Vice President, and champion of the earth, Mr. Brian Jagdeo, and Honorable Minister, Mr. Zulfui. It is a great pleasure this afternoon to be here. And what I'm seeing is that development is here with the PPP government. Most likely, what makes me so joy and happy is that the message that's sent to the nation and what the nation is receiving is second to none comparing with the previous government that whosoever was here. I appreciate the way the PPP do his act, and the acts are together. The acts are together. I therefore, in behalf of Chautauqua Friends Fisherman's Group, I'm the chairperson. I want to thank you all very much for this initiative that's taken by the President and the Vice President and the Agriculture Minister to give this to him. But please don't let it stop here. Please let it don't stop here. Because we, as fishermen, we are suffering great consequences. Because we're going out there and die. Our family are suffering because they are part of this fishing world. Bringing the fish, you come and bring the fish and throw it. They have to prepare it. So the whole family is part of this process. Now, I want to say an important thing what's going on in the east bank of Borbis River. I was a fisherman for the past 40 years. With fishing nets, equipment for the past 40 years. And what is taking place now is beyond control. The water tends to be very sweet at this time here. I don't know, I can't say another. I'm not a technician or a technical person to determine what caused it. But the water tends to be so sweet and dark and fresh. The fish going away. The fish going away. The fish cannot breathe. Maybe the water is too cold. But where we live in, we used to catch huge fish. Big amount of fishes. But at the same time, now, it appears to be like our livelihood gone down. We going down. We gotta move. And I think that as the President mentioned, Agriculture Minister, that inland fishing will be better. So I don't know if the government could, make lands available for the inland fishing, because that is the only source I see in fishing in the east bank of Borbis could help us to, get back on our feet. And we need the assistance. And I know that the assistance is there. I know. Because you all don't stifle your pocket. I know that very well. Because if we follow Mr. Norton, we cripple our own self. Right? He said he DNA he be mad in his small. He DNA he be mad in his small. So what we doing really? If he's a leader for an organization, then who we gonna now what I am saying is that Mr. Jagdeo fought tremendously as a one-man army in this country to bring them up. See here now. And we must thank you so much for that, Mr. Jagdeo. We must thank you very much for that. And I think that your kindness and cooperation will be always remembered. One thing I want to tell you, that the grass that came out of the Kanji Creek, that's another disaster for the fishermen in the east bank of Borbis. The grass that came out, break the fishing pen, hook with the seines, tangle it, destroy it. Now, when there is one phase, the second phase is that when the grass dead, it gone down. It turned like a kind of bark thing, like just float in the water down. You can't see it. It hook the engine, break the propeller, break it, go in the Chinese in, break the pen, the nets, they're destroyed, and it stay in the bed, pull down the sea. So it is two-part. They want fresh grass coming 3 times in a year. So it's very difficult in the East Bank of Bobbies. And I want you to do, as a hero, I want you to look into that matter very serious with me, Mr. Vice President. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you very much. So clearly, aquaculture is an important aspect of moving forward, because the explanation you gave about why the fisheries, we had a problem recently with the fishing stock, is exactly what the FAO said. They said because of climate change and a lot of fresh water, with the intensity of the rainfall and the large volumes of water, the water becomes sweeter, and therefore it affects the fishing stock, as you correctly pointed out. And we've had a lot of that, and it's not going to change, because there is global warming, there is climate change is real, and you know about the intensity of rainfall that we have now, the volume of rainfall. So clearly, a better option has to be how we control water. I was talking to the farmers just now about large-scale D&I infrastructure in this region to better manage water that we'll be spending millions of dollars on. Aquaculture is an important part. We're working with the shrimp farmers, you've heard already, the shrimp people, now on that's existing ones, not even the future. This is the brackish water, and hopefully by next year we'd have over 1 million kilograms of shrimp growing from 250,000 kilograms. That's a 4-fold increase in their production, simply because the government is working with them. The last time I was here, we talked a bit about that. Simon is working on a project with us, stand up Simon, Nancy, on some work they're doing at Ruby at the back on shrimp, Hubu at the back there. So we're trying to get them, he's working on a project to see if we can take 2,000 acres of land at Skelton to do that. The returns are really great in this sector, and so we're trying to see if we can move that here. But on the East Bank, if we have the farmers there who are willing to go into aquaculture, we are prepared to work with them too. Now the problem about the river, you see, when they from what I gather in the rainy season, they cut the grass from the Kanchi Creek to allow it to flow. I don't know how we deal with this, because you need to clear the creek, but you also don't want to affect the fishermen. So if there is a period in which, I don't know, people leave these things all the time, right? When for a particular period we can do all the cutting, let the grass grow, and then they put back the pens. I don't know if we'd have to work with the fishermen.
What we also did, as the gentleman will know, we called in the people who are contracted to cut this grass and asked them to cut it in smaller pieces. So, but you know, invariably it's human beings dealing with, some do it, some don't do it. And it's very difficult to really check on it all the time. In fact, Gaisuku have also complained of suffering from this very problem with the big cutting of the grass.
Yeah, so we have to find a way of clearing the creek, but at the same time, you don't destroy the fisherman's livelihood. So I think we have to find a way, maybe to do this, or maybe a season, a particular period, when for like 6 weeks or a month, you do that, and then for the rest of the year, you don't have any of that clearing. So we should have a discussion with the fishermen to see what kind of solution we can come with. But definitely land for aquaculture and all of that, working with you in Berbice. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Me from Street Anchor, Matadi. The grass, all the time they cut the grass, but when they don't cut the grass, they left a piece in the water. The grass grows very quick in Cotton Creek. We used to go in Cotton Creek. We go steady creek, so we could tell. Just let the dog cut it, you go. If you get a badge with a high marker, when they don't cut the grass, throw it. You can take like next 10 years for grow back. If the people cut the grass as how they cut it, clean the river, it never grow back so quick. But they left a piece on the river. So the grass grow back fast. So fast the grass grow.
All right.
And another thing.
So we'll explore all the solutions so we can look at it.
And the next thing with the shrimps, we get shrimps. We get shrimps here. See that, right? Times go by when they change the channel and make it to the east, the water now sail up the place where the white man them in the day. So the tide coming from the north. We channel in Bobby River went to the north because we working over 40 years getting shrimps. Me whole life.
So this is dredging for the bauxite?
Yeah, they bring the channel to the east. So the tide goes into the Quarantine River. Whereas this tide supposed to go to Georgetown to the north. We ocean that to the north.
Yeah.
So we get to the draft now to take out the sling. So the thing sling out. The river is shallow. Right? Now the sweet water come, the salt water can't come because it's too shallow. So that will be problem for deep pipe leakage. The shrimps start coming. Right? So, and we apply for that piece of land to the streams inland.
Inland, yeah.
I went to Mendon, he said, the thing approved in Georgetown to give us at Bohemian School, 3 of us, we're going to go. He said, but you can't give it, you got to keep it if the people want it to give them. He said the people who live in the Quarantine Coast. And Georgetown approved it to give us part of 5 acres. Yeah, I think I went to Chairman, I went back to Mendon.
You all got to solve these things up here, man. Now we gotta help people if they want to, because things are gonna change with climate change and everything. So we gotta go down to more stable things. A lot of people were making fun about these cages and stuff, the fish cages and stuff. But it was an attempt to even out the season, because a lot of part of the world they do fishery in cages, but they put it in the ocean so that what happens, you don't have to do a lot of the feeding and all of that stuff. So it's more controlled environment. So they're gonna have some work done soon on that. So we wanna work with people who are willing to take the initiative and do it inland. That means all year round you can control the condition. You don't depend on tide or fresh water or anything else, or rain falling. So we should really look at these things. And seasonal feed, if there are more lands that more people want to do this, let's explore that possibility, including some of the Gaisuko lands in some areas. Including some of the Gaisuko lands. Okay, but I still want to hear from you how we should get this 150,000 to pay it out, and in a manner that only people who are eligible, the fishermen, get it. They all got to tell us how we get it. Oh, okay, all right.
So, what we should do, right, is examine the license. The license has the name of the...
Yes, the license. But you got a lot of people who are not licensed too, but we don't want to exclude them. If you go to my village, Unity, we fish a lot too. But a lot of the boys, them don't have license there, but I want them to get the money too. They can't leave them out. So I can't leave the people over there in my village. Yes. No, that is verification we have to do, find a way, but a lot of people, they're not licensed, but they're fishermen, they're real fishermen, they go and fish. That's the only criterion we want, that once they're fishermen, they get the money. So whether they got a license or not, it's helpful if they have a license, but if they don't have, we have to find a way to help them. Right? So any suggestion as to how we do this too, any other suggestion that hasn't been mentioned before? Because we want to do this, we want to take about a month, 1 month to verify it, and then next month, hopefully, this is June, so maybe July we pay in July. But take the whole month, put up the names, put it at all the landing points, you all get a chance to see the names, make sure that, and then in July, we make the payout. Okay? So that's how we're going to work, that we take the whole month of June to verify this, so we don't get headache when I come to a meeting like this in the future. 10 people stand up and say, we're fishermen, but we didn't get it, and there are other people who are not fishermen, they got it. Right? Because that happens all the time when we come out to these meetings. Right? So that is how we work. We try to do it in July, make the payment. If that's the case, comrades, then thank you very much for coming here today. We're going to move swiftly. June we verify, July we pay. Okay? Thank you very much. Oh yes, you wanted to talk. Listen, 1 minute.
Honorable sir, God bless Bharat and Jagdeo.